My name is Jack Cunningham and I'm Head of Theology here at Bishop Grossteste University, and to be quite honest, I came here 12 years ago and somebody said that we were coming up to an anniversary of Grossteste, and they asked me to be involved in it, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of him, really, apart from the name of the institution. And so I came to it via an international conference that was organised by me and John Flood, and I got hooked at this man. Absolutely fascinates me, and I really can't understand why he isn't more well known and more appreciated. In my research, I'm looking historically. I'm a church historian by profession, so I really want to kind of look at Grossteste in the context of the 13th century, and I'm very, very interested in looking at what he's saying and what he's thinking, and trying to see if there are reasons why this is happening. Is there something happening in Europe at this time that affects him? Is he changing because of things that are happening? So I'm really exploring those possibilities as a church historian. For me, coming along to the Ordered Universe project, I can learn a great deal about what he's thinking, and then I can take it away with me and say, right, is there a context for this? Well, of course there's a context for this, but what is that context and how important are things there? It's a very, very turbulent century in Europe. There's an explosion of ideas, and I think it would be a mistake to see Grossteste in isolation to those ideas. We've had a very famous biography of Robert Grossteste from Sir Richard Southern, who kind of more or less claims that this is a mind that grew up in splendid isolation, unaffected by what was going on in Europe. And I'm suspicious of that. I don't think that's the case, and so I'm looking at that. That's what my big question is that right? And actually, would we be better off putting Robert Grossteste back into a European, Latin context? Yeah, well, this is very, very exciting for me. Robert Grossteste, after the Reformation, was kind of claimed by the English Church, the English Protestant Church in particular, as kind of a proto-Protestant, a proto-reformer, and they had some good ammunition for that, because he goes to Lyon and he ticks off the Pope like any good Protestant should do, and he also is very strict with the monasteries and friaries, and sometimes actually closes them down, just like Henry VIII. This is quite clearly he's a good Henrician Protestant, and so he was kind of claimed as a Protestant. And in fact, if you go into the chapter house of Lincoln Cathedral, we have some wonderful stained glass depicting this Protestant story of Grossteste, and this is fascinating for me as a historian. But it was always a pity that we never had the Catholic counterpart to that. We just didn't, and actually we've discovered a manuscript in Valladolid in northern Spain, and it's from an English Catholic priest, and he's claiming Grossteste back as a Catholic. And without wanting to go into the argument of what Grossteste was, this is fascinating. This tussle over the great man for me, and so I'm editing that, and that's going to be published with commentary, and so I'm excited about this. This is a nice piece of a missing jigsaw that we've just discovered, so it's very exciting. The Ordered Universe, as we know, was based in Durham, and then it's in the last couple of years it's been going on the road, really. Our last meeting was in Pembroke College, Oxford, and the last few days it's been an enormous privilege of our university, of Bishop Grossteste University, to have it here. So this is it's hard to kind of to do justice to how enormously important this was for us. I was looking around the table at one stage, and there's 23 people around this table. I counted 7 nationalities, I think. Massive mixture of disciplines and real experts in the field, and they're producing something which is highly important to Grossteste studies here in an institution named after him in the city where he was bishop and where he's buried. And that for me is important, it's significant, and it's something that I personally am incredibly proud of. We talk very lightly, I think, about highlights to our career, but really these last 3 days have been my highlight, and will be for some time.